everyone, welcome to Mindful Mindsets, and today we're going to talk about self-discipline. So discipline is really important to success, and in most of our areas that we are successful, we are very disciplined. We could see the self-discipline that we apply in those arenas. But what I think many people fail to realize is that we can make anything our discipline. We usually apply that to work. We sometimes apply that to our bodies and getting fit, but that's usually about it. We don't apply the idea of our disciplines to other arenas of our lives. So I want to start off with a couple definitions of how I'm using these terms. And if you know me at all, you know that I don't mean discipline in the punishing form. If you watch this channel at all, you'll know that I think self-acceptance is the most important thing that we can foster, other than mindfulness maybe, and that punishing yourself or criticizing yourself is not going to be conducive. Also, I want to distinguish between discipline and habits. Habits is something you do repeatedly. When you make something your discipline, you're not necessarily going to do the same things every time. You're working towards something. You're working towards something that you want to get, but you're not necessarily doing the same thing over and over. You're trying creative ways, different ways to get that result. And finally, discipline is a little bit different than goals in that goals has a very specific end in mind. We're going to have a video on goals and how your goals should be extremely specific and even timestamped so that there's a date where you can try to achieve them by, whereas a discipline is something that is much more indefinite. When you make something your discipline, you don't plan on stopping it from being your discipline. It's going to be your discipline maybe the rest of your life, but at least indefinitely. So I want to start with a story about how discipline is so important and how we can make anything our discipline. So in the 80s and 90s is a very famous story. You may have heard this story before. But there was a very high-powered consultant. He got paid about $1 million a month to consult with these companies, and that was back when $1 million was still a lot of money. So he was extremely successful. He delivered results for these high-powered companies, but he was on his third major relationship. He had already been divorced twice. He was in a relationship. He had been in a relationship for about a year, and he was thinking about getting married again. And he was having lunch with one of his friends, and his friend just noticed that he looked much happier than he had ever seen him. And he asked him why. And he said, well, you know, I really am happy in this relationship. It's really going well. And then he thought for a minute. He goes, I really hope I don't mess it up, right? I really hope that I can make this one work. I just wish that this relationship will work out. And his friend said, well, if you want it to work out, you need to apply the same principles that you apply in business to your personal life. Imagine sitting in a boardroom and the CEO of IBM saying, I really, really hope we make these our quarterly earning targets. I really hope we can stay within budget in our marketing, and I just wish that we had better employee engagement, right? What would the consultant do? He would be all over him saying, what is this hope and wish crap? Let's get it done. And he needed to do the same thing in his relationship. Not the same types of things he did in business, but he needed to make it his discipline. He needed to figure out how to make it work. If we want something to work out, we need to figure out how to make it work, and then we need to put in the work. So rather than hoping and wishing that his relationship worked, he needed to look at what made his other relationships fail. And oftentimes, it was because he was spending 80 hours a week at the office and not putting work or time or love or care into his relationships. So his third marriage did end up working out, and it was because he decided that he was going to apply those principles, seeing what worked, putting in effort, putting in time, and making it his discipline. And we can make anything our discipline. So if we want to be happier, we need to make it our discipline. Most of us hope and wish we'll be happier. We think, oh, if we make more money, maybe we'll be happier. That may well be true, but we don't know. And even if it is, we need to make happiness our discipline if that's what we want, because then if we don't get happier when we make money, we're not discouraged. We need to try something else. So discipline, when we make something our discipline, we try many different things to see how we can get the result we want. So if we make happiness our discipline, maybe we think we need more money. Probably not. Maybe we think we need to be fitter. Maybe. But the many things that we can do to make ourselves happier, we can meditate more, we can exercise, we can try gratitude journals. When we try all these different things, we'll see what works and then we'll stick with them. So whatever you want to get in life, make it your discipline. If you want a better relationship with your spouse, make it your discipline. Try different things, try date nights, put in time, put in effort. That's what making something your discipline is all about. So if you want to get fitter, you know what to do. You need to make it your discipline. You need to try new things to see what you can keep on doing in order to achieve that result. And unlike goals, which should be very specific and time-stamped so that you have a deadline to try to achieve them by, disciplines are something that is indefinite. So for example, I say I want a relationship, and I do, but I certainly have not made it my discipline, right? I have some habits around it. I mindlessly swipe probably at almost the exact same times every day on certain dating apps, but I haven't made it my discipline. I don't put in work or time or effort into it, and I don't try different things. I do the same things over and over, not even really expecting different results, but at least somewhat subconsciously expecting different results, and of course, I don't get different results. So if I made it my discipline, I would make much more of an effort to go on dates, to see the types of people I'm more interested in, to see the types of people that are more interested in me, to see the types of interactions that lead to better dates and higher potential for relationships. But crucially, even if I get in a relationship, if I made being in a relationship my discipline, I wouldn't be done. Then I'd have to shift focus. I'd have to change the habits completely to say, okay, now how do I make this relationship work? What do I do to make this relationship positive and fun and engaging and lasting? And so that's what making something your discipline is about. A lot of us want to change personality traits about ourselves, and we don't think we can, or we think it'll happen somewhat magically. But that's not how we work. If we want to change something, we need to make it our discipline. So if you want to be nicer, commit to it. Make being nicer your discipline. So that means working really hard, making it a habit to try to be nice to people. If that doesn't work, maybe it's because you're getting agitated about something and you need to change that. Or maybe it's because you're mindless most of the time. And so you need to increase your mindfulness so that you can apply being nicer to people, so that you can make it that. So whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want to attain, you need to make your discipline. So we can do this in any area of life. It doesn't just have to be with work or fitness, which is usually what we think of when we think of self-discipline. And it doesn't have to be negative. Yes, we're putting in work and time and energy, but I don't want it to seem like I mean that discipline is punishing ourselves or criticizing ourselves or beating ourselves up. It just means focus and attention. So whatever you want, make it your discipline. And I am going to try to make this channel my discipline, which is much more encompassing than just the habit that I currently have of making these videos. So I think this is a great habit for me. I've learned a lot about myself. I do think my presentation skills are getting slightly better. This present video may be an exception, but if I make it my discipline, that means I have to learn many different things. It's not just about the habit of making these videos. I need to make these videos. I need to learn how to edit. I need to get editing software. I need to find more ideas. I need to watch other videos to see how other people are more successful. And that's what making something your discipline is about, is trying as many things as possible and putting in the work and effort to get a certain outcome. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.